technology and teamwork, making the streets of Chicago safer. I'm Peter Carl, and this is Chicago Crime Watch. Domestic violence kills more than 1,000 women nationwide every year. How can you break the cycle and help victims get assistance? Those questions were answered at a recent community gathering.
In one way or another, domestic violence negatively impacts us all. And it does not discriminate, not with respect to age, race, household, community, or financial status.
Eugene Williams wears two hats at this event. One, Deputy Chief of Patrol for Area 2, the other, President of the Chicago chapter of Noble, the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives. Noble partnered with other Chicago area domestic violence agencies to arrange the symposium.
While I'm attending to my responsibilities as the President of a local chapter of Noble, I'm also dealing with the fact that I'm the Deputy Chief of Patrol in Area 2, and we've had a spike and increase in domestic violence, and it's a very, very important issue that needs to be addressed.
And it's the kind of issue that if you don't put more and more attention to, it just continues to spike out of control and lead to other problems within communities, fractured relationships, fractured families, and those are the types of things that as policing that we need to make sure that we're getting information out to the public.
The event at the Trinity United Church of Christ draws a big crowd to talk about ways to break the cycle and help victims break their silence. CAP's Executive Director Vance Henry gives an invocation. He emphasizes the important work that needs to be done.
The work of ending domestic violence so that no other person, be it male or female or a child, has to bear up under the prison of living in silence. And so tonight is a tremendous event.
Every day there are more than 550 domestic violence-related calls to the Chicago Police Department. That's almost 17,000 calls a month. In 2007, there were 47 domestic violence homicides in the city of Chicago. One of the goals of the evening is to encourage people to get involved.
What we're doing is working with community members to get involved, calling 911, reaching out to church members, neighbors, people they may know who they suspect are experiencing domestic violence, and encouraging them to reach out for help.
I've been a victim of domestic violence.
Dana Starks, Chairman and Commissioner of the Commission on Human Relations, tells the audience how, as a child, he witnessed his father hit his mother several times. And he says that vivid memory has stayed with him throughout his life, making him a victim of domestic violence.
One reason why I think it helps me to talk about it and why I think it's helpful to talk about it is that people look at Dana Starks and they say, former First Deputy Superintendent of the Chicago Police Department, former interim superintendent, now chairman and commissioner of the Commission on Human Relations for the city. And they don't believe that those type of things happen to individuals who hold those type of offices. And what I try to show people is that anyone can be a victim of domestic violence, regardless of what his or her title or rank is.
I am a survivor of domestic violence. I received an order of protection and have since been away from my abuser. My abuser and I have 2 children together, and they have visitation with him. But since then, I have been empowered by that time away to be able to heal from the domestic violence that actually lasted over 10 years.
Tara Nance says the abuse started when she was 18 years old. While she would leave, she'd always end up going back during what she calls the honeymoon phase, when she accepted his apology, flowers, and candy. But the violence eventually started again. She said the breaking point followed a violent incident while the family was driving. Her abuser had thrown a tirade over an issue.
My youngest son was screaming in the back seat. My oldest son put his hand over his mouth so he could stop screaming. Obviously, he knew that this was upsetting him. He reached over and I felt him flailing. I thought he was hitting them and I said, "Don't hit them." And he turned around and hit me while I was driving. When we finally dropped him off, I knew at that point I couldn't allow my kids to go through this.
At the evening symposium, sessions deal with why it's important for men to get involved and endorse nonviolence, how to help teenagers recognize early signs of domestic violence while dating, and the role faith leaders can have in addressing the issue with their congregations. The message that prevails throughout the evening: if you are a victim, reach out for help. Or if you know someone you think may be abused, get involved.
The biggest thing for me is to see that silence is broken, that these incidents are reported. We really are hurting when we don't get the information and don't get the assistance to the people who need it. We need that information. We need people calling.
Be a nosy neighbor. Call 911. You may be saving a life. That is indeed true. If you call 911 and a domestic violence incident is occurring, you may be saving some young lady, some young man, or some child's life. So be a nosy neighbor.
For Tara Nance, it's been over 4 years since she left her abuser, and with the help of family, friends, and support agencies, she's recovering well. She offers this advice to other victims.
Own your power and know that you have inside of you to know, you already know what to do, and be strong and know that you can do that. And there are so many services out there that can help you. Own your power and don't stay. You don't deserve to be abused.
If you are the victim of domestic violence and need assistance, call the City of Chicago 24-hour help hotline at 1-877-863-6338.